Welcome to the Modern Renaissance Man Show. I'm Ben Copeland, the Modern Renaissance Man. Glad you can join us tonight for this evening. Airing sometime, I think it's going to be in December, probably around Pearl Harbor Day, if I get this show built right and turned out right. And so happy Pearl Harbor Day for those who celebrate it, and I'm sorry for those who are sad and remorse over it. Anyway, it's an interesting thing. I've been talking to my daughter some about American history, and that was one of the things we talked about was the attack of Pearl Harbor. Thanks to all the veterans who may still be around who survived that time period, and all the veterans that are still around for the current wars that are going on. Remember your people at Medic. If you see them in a restaurant, thank them for saving your life before they do it, because you probably won't have time when it happens. On a lighter note, a subject that's thrown at me was talking about kids. There's a singer out here. Her name's Brittany, nicknamed Spud Spears, who has some kids. And that's usually Spud. I don't know if you watched her last time on television, but she's sort of like a little tater out there dancing around in her little bikini outfit kind of thing. Come on, Brittany. You got some children now. Act like a mom. You're no Cher. It's time to grow up, honey. Anyway, and speaking of growing up, Al Gore. Al Gore has finally found his place in society. He got the Nobel Prize for discovering basically that our climate is getting hot. He discovered the internet, and now he's discovered that basically our world is overheating. They gave him a prize for it. However, what I hear is that Florida is contesting it, and they're saying that Gore shouldn't really have gotten it, that it was a wrong vote, and they want it to go to one of the Bushes for all of his peace efforts in the Middle East. That's Florida for you. The other thing I've been thinking about was here lately was filling out a lot of job applications. You go through the EEOC list of what are you, if you're willing to fill it out. And that's where I got to where I do that. And it has this kind of American, and this kind of American, and this kind of American, and this kind of American. And then it has white. I'm like, well, why don't you say white American? Why don't you say Caucasian American? Why don't you just say Native American born here? That to me is a racist comment on the EEOC. Come on, EEOC. Let's just be straight across the board here. If we're going to establish certain special names for all groups of people, let's establish them for everybody. Another group of people that I like are the C students. We're the C students in our corporate world. Right now we're getting all these Harvard MBA people and these Yale MBA people. And you know what they learn to do in 2 years and probably $100,000 to pay for that degree for that MBA? Basically learn two things. Buy another company or lay off a bunch of people. That works. It's real simple. I tell you what, I think my stepson, who basically went to 1 year of college and is teaching tennis, could have come up with that one on his own. And, we could have made a whole lot of money on that idea, and instead of spending $100,000 for a degree. Some of our best leaders in our corporate world are C students, the most creative people. I think that's a problem. We're sticking these A students from these big to-do MBA schools in charge, and they're not creative. And while I'm sort of leaning to a soapbox, I think I'll get on it. Tonight, I sort of going to take a different approach. One of my favorite things to do is to watch dark comedies, black comedies on TV. So actually, I decided to write sort of a dark comedy for my soapbox. And I'll tell you the title. This soapbox is called Terrorists at NASCAR. In October 2007, you're seeing this, like I said, roughly in December, there was concern over a terrorist attack at a NASCAR race, particularly the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the October race. Now let's take a look at this. A terrorist in NASCAR. That would be a serious mistake. You don't want a bunch of good old boys and good old girls as your enemy. Let me tell you, they'll never forget to pay you back. Even the fence straddlers about the current war situation, they're going to start voting real conservative if they don't already. So you're going to nail that if you're a terrorist. Think about that one. And I tell you what, I'll help the terrorist who messes up and doesn't get that bomb to explode and go off there in front of a bunch of good old boys and girls sitting at the racetrack. If they're lucky and not beaten to a pulp, they're probably going to get tied up onto the fence hanging right there in front of the track, which means they're going to get pelted with 10,000 chicken bones from all these race fans as they throw their bones down there on that terrorist. Probably going to get doused with gallons of leftover stale Budweiser and Miller Lite kind of stuff that people are going to throw on them. And even worse, they sell barbecue at the racetrack. Pork barbecue. Well, Islamic people don't do too well with pork products. And I know some good old boys, some good old girls are going to know that. So next thing you know, they're going to be throwing their pork barbecue sandwiches on this terrorist tied to this fence who's been pelted by these chicken bones and covered with this Miller Lite and these Budweisers hanging there on the fence before the police can get there. If the police even know about it, because somebody might not even tell them. Right across the street, I think, is Bass Pro Shop. Bass Pro Shop's probably going to start a sale when that happens, because everybody come out of the racetrack and stop right by there. They'll probably offer a 2-for-1 sale on shotguns and rifles. Probably give free .357 with every purchase. Probably even start developing the idea of a oceanic-sized bass boat. So all of these good old boys and girls can get in their boat and just cruise right over onto the Middle East and go hunting for terrorists. But seriously here now, if a terrorist attacks our sports, especially NASCAR, hunting season will be out on terrorists inside and outside of this country, whether it was actually them or not. We don't always understand what the thinking of the Middle East and the Islamic societies, particularly of the Middle East. They definitely don't understand this society either. We are the biggest group of dysfunctional people in the world. The U.S. has got the greatest amount of probably dysfunctionality of anywhere. But they come together united, just like any dysfunctional family when they're threatened. You mess with the good old boys and girls, you mess with the regular boys and girls, and this country comes together, and they'll come back at you. And that's the way I feel. Thanks. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Doran and Anna, get them up to give us some few tunes. And so I have to get them sliding over there and over here to listening to the soapbox. Anyway, with that, glad you joined us. And y'all ready to turn something out? Sure. All right, great. Glad you're here.
I'm not happy anymore. I'm not happy any less. What is it that I feel? Even kill at its best. Seeing couples walk around, wonder if they act that way when they get behind closed doors. 'Cause one leaves and the other stays. As they're sorting out their things, who gets the diamond ring? It's not like he can wear it. Who knows, but I'd rather sing. Sing of times that are happy, feeling good about myself, dancing, laughing, feeling happy, not trying to please someone else. I'm not happy anymore, and I'm not happy any less. What is it that I feel? Even kill at its best. Watching others go to work, so impatient in their haste. Driving by and flipping birds, blaming me because they're late. But I don't let it bother me that I'm getting flipped off, you see. I just smile and wave hello, 'cause I've got nowhere to be. Sing of times that are happy, feeling good about myself. Dancing, laughing, feeling happy, not trying to please someone else. Singing songs that are happy, feeling good about myself. Dancing, laughing, feeling happy, not trying to please someone else.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Glad you stayed with us. Some wonderful tunes from DoranAnna. Appreciate that. Before I call out a guest who's been here before, I got a few things I wanted to sort of throw out, do some plugs here. Basically, got a movie here. We can talk about here in just a minute. Can you get this, Dan? Movie from the library. Where are we coming to? I'm not sure which one's got it, but one of you got it. I see it. This is called Greaser's Palace. Now, in the library, you'll find this under the comedy section, which it should not be there, but I have to tell the librarians once in a while where they need to stick their movies. Anyway, that wasn't the way it was supposed to come out quite that way, but that, whatever, that too. So I tell them that. Anyway, Greaser's Palace. This is an interesting film. This is basically the story of Jesus Christ as portrayed in the Old West, the Wild West. It's a great book. It's got a guy who used to be on MASH, and I was trying to remember his name here. Anyway, it's a Robert Downey film, Robert Downey Sr. You've probably seen Robert Downey Jr. in some movies. But it's a great film. It's a very interesting way of presenting the life of Jesus Christ as portrayed in the Old West. It seems sort of comedic. My wife's going to kill me for the way I pronounce that one, I'm sure. But it's an interesting film. I saw it probably 20-something years ago. It's been around a long time. Go to the public library. Movies are great, unless you're late. And so love to do that. With that, let's go ahead and let's bring Charlie out. Charlie Roman's. Let's get him to come out. Charlie. All right. Cut right across. Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Ben.
Glad you could join us.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Dad. I always promised him I'd do that if I ever got on TV.
Well, cool.
Because everyone always says hi, Mom, too, but you know, I always promised him I'd say that. So
Excellent.
fulfilled.
Sure.
Done.
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 Anyway,
Yeah.
Charlie,
Yeah, kinda like a shout out.
Charlie is the Ohio man, so I have to exclude him from all my northern jokes. I've learned that Ohio is not like Eastern Northern people.
Yeah, it's different.
And,
Midwest.
And most northern Ohio men seem to be real creative, which is one of the reasons I've had Charlie on the show before, because he's an entrepreneur. A couple times over here, and if you don't like what you're hearing from Charlie and I, we can always blame George. Oh, we got to do the host cam. I've been beat up a few times that we had to do the host cam, so we're going to start right off here, looking at the better looking part of the cast here.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, hit them. There's DoranAnna, and as if I don't stick their name under it often enough. But anyway, and of course, there's Charlie. Wearing his Wolverine shirt.
That's right.
Michigan.
Makes for interesting times.
Yeah.
Good conversation starter.
Yeah, we talked a while back.
Here.
We talked a while back, and I talked about these helmets that I hated. They were Michigan's helmets. There's the best girl out there, Kate S. Copeland, and everybody, and there's other people hiding. Anyway, the host cam, we claim to have invented it, and if you think somebody else did, they're not telling the truth, and blame George. Or blame Speaker Pelosi. She
There
just
you go
acts
again.
like she wants to be the president. Merriment is a necessity.
We had a first lady who used to act like she wanted to be president too. Oh wait, she's running.
That's right. She
Yeah.
sure is.
Yeah.
You know, and her husband, who looks good in a blue dress, is what I hear. Anyway, so we'll find out. He'll be the next lady.
First man.
I think we'll go first lady. Anyway, check out the website, www.mrmtv.org, or you can send me some email at mrm@together.net. And we hadn't even got any email in a while. Send some email, you know, whether you like show, don't like show. I know you got to love the music. So send some. If you'd like to come down and watch the show, send me an email. We'll see what we can do for that. Anyway, Dan's got a show. Dan, what's Dan's show? My director, Dan, is producing a show. I think it's called American Heroes. Is it American Heroes?
Yeah.
8:30 on Tuesdays. Check it out. Dan done some nice stuff. So check out Dan's show. When I don't have him tied up doing the Modern Renaissance Man, he actually goes out and creates some other things. Haven't got the Modern Renaissance car yet. Still looking at that. Haven't got the Modern Renaissance plane yet. Still dreaming of that. Watch out for our Disney show coming up maybe sometime in 2008, because you're seeing this around, like I said, it's probably 1st of December.
We just got back from there. So you
Yeah,
guys will have a lot of
love
fun.
Disney. Can't wait to get down there and snort some of that Mickey gas and be all happy and just love what's going on down there. You know, everybody down there is just so happy. Let's talk about that. There's an idea to lead in. We're talking about business, how your business is progressing. You always seem to be pretty upbeat. You got a stash of Mickey gas over there or something? I don't know. Charlie lives.
So I imported it when I came back up
Did you?
from.
You brought some
yeah,
with you?
Yeah, unfortunately my business isn't quite as well as Disney, but we're not there quite yet. But
you got the two going on. The two business. Tell us about the two businesses.
yeah, I've got I won't use the name. I've got an exterior cleaning company. It's a patented process that it's been about a year and a half old, and I was doing a house just across the street from our neighborhood about a week ago. A big 3-story monster stucco job, and I did the whole thing in 2 hours. And then there was a guy there varnishing the door who had cleaned it before. He said it took him 3 days just to get the eaves around the outside of his house. And he said it was the most amazing thing he'd seen.
It is cool. I've seen that work.
So it does, that feels good. It doesn't pay bills, but it's
Yeah.
still better than saying, "Hey, I've seen that done 100 times before." But so that's doing well. And then I have a newcomer greeting service where I have a staff of 5 ladies who go out and.
Now,
newcomers.
how long have you been at that?
We started that in May, actually doing home
So you got a
visits.
staff of 5 people.
Yeah.
And then your wife Andrea works with you. Some on it,
Yeah, I don't
too.
count her. I work for her.
You work for her.
As
That's
any
right.
happily
I did
married
see
man,
the card.
I
I
work
think
for
I
my
saw
wife.
president or something on her card.
Yeah. So, I work for her.
That's cool. From May, basically, you come up with an idea for a business.
Right.
And then you got people actually doing it, going out and welcoming people into town.
Welcoming
giving them
people
some,
in the local
some
chambers,
information.
Charlotte, Matthews, Union County. They've all been great to work with. They give us a lot of great information that we're able to give to the new people and be helpful that way. Have business sponsors that take part in that want to be, introduced as part of that. And the people love it because, I moved here. My wife and I moved 8 times in 8 years before we came to Charlotte. And when you're new to an area, you don't know anything. Whether it's from what roads to drive or stay off to, hey, who's a good dentist, where to get the hair done. Some people worry about that more than others, but there's just a lot of things that you.
That's not one of my issues.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to
Saw
say
you
anything
looking
about
there.
that. But people need that help, and so we're happy to give it. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's been very rewarding, more than just monetarily. Some people would still consider me unemployed because I don't quite make enough money to be called self-employed yet, but we're getting there. It's coming along. It's very encouraging. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds positive.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
And like you said, if you're basically paying the bills and having some fun, that's the majority of it.
And it has been. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very, very rewarding so far.
Let's talk about something that's changing here. I was reading the other day about somebody said that price of oil is going up. Oil, for all you people who are not from the South, that's the stuff you put in cars besides gasoline. Oil. OIL.
Oil.
Anyway, my wife gets me on that diphthong all the time. She loves hearing me say that. Motor oil. And the price of gas is getting ready to take another leap again. And that would probably have some impact with some of your staff.
Sure, it does. We get out and drive around a lot. Probably that's one of our main overhead issues is the gas. I pay the girls well, so they can kind of grin and bear that a little bit. But Yeah, the price of oil, people don't realize. I mean, that affects everything from the cost of your food, because everything gets trucked, gets shipped, gets air freight, and it's built into the price of absolutely everything we do.
And see, now I still can remember. I'm significantly older than you, but in the '70s, when you were probably still in elementary
About
school, okay,
Yeah, 76.
there was a gas shortage. Oh, we're running out of gas. There's no gas. And I remember we had the lines, and we had all this, and the big to do about running out of gas. I think. Well, it's interestingly enough, we still got gas, and the price has significantly gone up.
Yes.
And our government is not doing diddly. Our car companies are not doing diddly about this. Cars basically get the same miles per gallon as they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy a hybrid, well, you got to sell a child.
Yeah, they're about 50% more in a lot of cases. For a true hybrid, it's about 50% more.
Yeah, and what I found out of them, I started looking at those. Okay, you get 40 miles per gallon in the city. Well, you get 40 miles per gallon in the highway.
Right.
So you don't get any. All you get is if you don't drive city, a highway doesn't. I mean, in city miles, the hybrid doesn't necessarily buy you that much.
Yeah, it's and there's a lot of different hybrid technologies out there. They've got fuel and battery. Then they use hybrid's tough because hybrid is an E85 in gasoline. So even the hybrid is kind of a catch-all term.
The thing I didn't like is that I was riding with a guy in his car just could cut off and pull up to the intersection or something, or like I don't want a car cutting on and off on its own. That really sort of
our neighbor has a car like that. It kind of throws you for a loop. It's like, oh, you stalled. You want me to get out and push?
And he pushes on the gas and it cranks back up.
And takes off.
Starts going again. And but that's the thing is if the government wants us to switch there, they got to make it affordable. For one thing, at least Pat McCrory is putting bicycle lanes beside the light rail so we can get some good use out of that. Because I was worried that with the light rail nobody would use it, but when I heard that they were delaying the project to put bicycle lanes out there,
it'll be nice and level.
Yeah, we'll get a bunch of guys in their skivvies and their helmets.
Be good. People riding on the bikes can wave at the train as it's broke down.
Yeah, that'll work good. And then it goes up and down, whatever. So those that are getting nauseous, kind of thing, trying to get into Charlotte, as if they are not getting nauseous going into Charlotte anyway.
Oh, come on, it could be worse. You could be in Cleveland.
I don't know
Detroit.
about Cleveland, so I can't say that. I heard Detroit could be rough.
It's bad.
You know more about that.
I do. Yeah,
So
it's bad.
And speaking of Detroit and big car companies, what do you see as some of the key issues you think is wrong with corporate America?
Well, I really think...
I'm throwing these topics out at Charlie for those that...
Yeah, this is the first time. Unlike on the big time shows, I didn't get any prep time. But no, I really think, you talk about corporate America, I think a lot of the problems are our big corporations are beholden to the stocks. All the CEOs are paid on stock prices. And so you mentioned in one of your talks earlier about people, cutting jobs.
The entrepreneurs.
It's all a short-term basis, because if we can quickly cut costs and do things like that, it jumps the stock price. And all these CEOs, huge paychecks, are based on what they're able to do with the stock price. And they're worried about today, not 5 or 10 years from now.
I used to think they worked on the quarter, but I think they've even shortened that duration.
Yeah, I don't. It's week. It's almost weekly now because the cycles, everything have tightened up so much.
One of my favorite stories is that when I did some graduate studies, was on two companies. One was the Heinz Corporation. Now, whether you like Scary Carey and his family or not, it really doesn't matter. But for those you don't know, John Kerry married into the Heinz Corporation.
Smart move.
Family. It was good for him.
Yeah.
Yes,
bought him a few political offices.
He has free ketchup for life. But that was the thing, was that Heinz Corporation during the Depression after 1929, when the majority of leaders were saying, let's cut businesses, let's close factories, Heinz borrowed money at dirt cheap price because the rates were down and built factories. So here, 70 years later, they're as strong as ever.
Yeah.
And John Kerry is worth $200 million, and he's just married to one of them.
Yeah.
So and that one, and the other one was the DuPonts. And the DuPonts were a family that basically brought together to sell, or almost, I don't know if they actually invented it, but it was gunpowder. Got them together in the 80s, and it was a family of basic chemists.
Yeah.
And they started developing all this stuff. Or somewhere in I think it was the 80s, early 90s, they decided to hire a different CEO who wasn't part of the DuPont family. Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to start downsizing. You want to start cutting stuff.
Yeah.
one of the first things he wanted to cut was R&D. So he wanted to cut research and development, which is what made the Heinz Corporation grow. And after they started losing money because it kept, hit a spiral, they got rid of him.
Yeah.
And brought somebody back in.
And I think you touched on something there. You talk about DuPont family, the Heinz family, back when these were family-run businesses, back when a lot of the business were family-run, the family could make the decision, hey, we're willing to take a short-term bump for the long-run gain, where now, if they hire me as a CEO and my $10 million bonus is based on driving stock prices up today, forget about 3 to 5 years from now, I got to do it today, then I'm going to do what I can for today. And 5 years from now, be darned, because I'm probably going to be working for a different company.
Yeah.
Because I'll have turned this around, somebody will buy me out to go and work for them, and I'll do the same thing there and keep getting paid, while the workers for that company are getting the short end of the stick.
On that same note, we got to wrap it up here.
Sure.
Is that it used to be that Japanese family businesses used to do 100-year business plans.
How about that?
I don't know if they still do that, but that's trying to create a vision.
It's the difference between a family business and a publicly held business.
We need some family business. We need some creative leaders. We need some creative politicians. If you don't like it, we've got some votes coming up here. We had them in November. Hopefully you voted right.
Creative in a good way.
That's right. In a good way. In closing, I want to thank the crew. Without the camera people, this show would not exist. They come down here and volunteer their time and basically do it for slices of pizza and some water. We do a great job. We have a good time doing it. Dano, you're the director, my man there. Dean Smart, always on audio. Dan switching off here. You'll find me sooner or later, Dan. That's the thing about live shows here, people. We shoot a live show. You'll come down and have some fun. Jennifer manages the green room. Kate S. Copeland, who does Roman host camera and helps me on co-hosting some blurb shows. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of weeks on this channel. I'm Ben Copeland, Modern Renaissance Man. I'm going to let DoranAnna take us out with some tunes. Have a good evening. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.